Hello, everybody, to our seminar Hǎiguī or Seaweed, returning from Germany and getting a job in China. I warmly welcome you to this webinar. And this is Julia Boger. I'm working at World University Service in Wiesbaden and would like to invite you on this journey for your reintegration into the professional labor market in China. The content of my presentation is structured as follows. First of all, I give you a brief introduction on WUS, what we are, who we are, and what we carry out actually. I will give you some insights on facts and figures about Chinese students here in Germany and about their return migration. The model of preparedness I will just touch briefly and highlight more the practical niche, how important it is and how you can find your practical working niche in your home country. Of course, what is interesting is the power of networks and your checkup. Do you really have all the application documents at hand, which you will need as soon as you graduated? And on this behalf also, we can build a timeline, what you have to do before you think of returning home. And I will give my contacts in the ninth point and also some references if you feel that you have more interest in the topic of reintegration of Chinese students. There is quite a vast amount of literature on this topic, and it's written in a very nice style sometimes. And yeah, it's recommendable to go through these reports if you like to. Well, but coming now to World University Service, who we are and what we do, you can find more information about us on the homepage www.wusgermany.de. Even it is also in English if you like to. Yeah, in the red the box you can find more information about our services, in the green more about our focus group foreign students in Germany. And actually, we work in Germany on the together with the main group of students from the global south here in Germany. This is our focus group, and yeah, in this context, we also learned from many students who had returned in their home country that returning home can be a real struggle. It can be really difficult. So over the years, World University Service achieved expertise in this topic of reintegration. And today we carry out seminars on reintegration, which you will find on the yellow box. And we also publish reports about reintegration topics, which you might find interesting. And of course, we are in the lobbying of reintegration. Because even though it is difficult, it might also have a positive outcome. And if it happens, it is quite a good contribution against the brain drain from students of the global south who leave to the north. And as soon as you reintegrate professionally and can carry out what you achieved here in Germany, then it is a quite good contribution for your home country. That is our opinion. Well, let's have a look at the facts and figures. Here you can see on this slide how many foreign students currently are in Germany. It's about 218,000, a bit more than 218,000 students are in Germany, and about 37% are from Asian countries, and 35% of this amount are from China. So I congratulate you. You are among the largest group of foreign students here in Germany, which you might have known already. And yeah, it is quite interesting also to look at the amount of how many people return from these students. And you might be surprised now to see that quite a big number of students here. You see that, first of all, the number of students increased tremendously since 2010. So more and more Chinese students are coming to Germany, and actually there's already a big student society here in Germany, a big Chinese student society. We even have a Chinese newspaper here in Germany. If you are interested, please don't hesitate and contact me at the webinar. I will give you the links if you don't know them yet. But coming back to the point of reintegration, as I mentioned, yeah, there are many students and how many return. Generally, looking at general statistics, we can see that in 1978 to 2004, China's academic personnel abroad was about 815, a much smaller figure than nowadays, and 24% of these persons were returning. And this number of reintegrated, highly skilled Chinese has grown tremendously because the possibilities at home are very high, and because of the Chinese government also made many efforts to attract Chinese students and Chinese qualified migrants to return to their home country and to contribute to the country's development, especially the economic development, one must say. So the return migrants quota is about almost 100%, which is very outstanding for in the general group of students from the global south. If you compare it to other countries, it's amazingly the number of returning Chinese. And yeah, why is that the case? Because they can expect also much higher wages than those who studied and who graduated in their home country, China. So the studying abroad has high value in the Chinese economy within Chinese employers, and they can expect up to 85,000 up to 140,000 euro per annum, and sometimes even 8 times higher than the average salary. They also might receive additional allowances up to 200,000 euro, and free housing, free custom regulations on cars, etc. And yeah, they're also very much appreciated and awarded for their inputs for excellent students, such as, for example, as the Hǎiguī plan. And now coming to the task, are you a sea turtle or are you going to be seaweed? That is actually the question. Please bear with me because my Chinese is not very good, not to say it's not existing at all. So if I pronounce the tasks a bit strange, please forgive me. That is also an aspect concerning language. I would like to invite you really to polish your German because that is something that is specific for the Chinese students, that they are so closed up in their group that they don't see the need for learning German. But it's a very, very important skill, especially if you want to integrate into a German company later on in China. Then it gives you a competitive advantage over others. And also, it is a good thing to learn the language in your home country, in your host country, sorry, even though I didn't learn Chinese now. And how do you find your niche? Well, first of all, you have to identify your current and your desired skills. What makes your profile outstanding, as I said? There might be a language advantage, even though you're not into languages or not working in the field of languages. You have something others cannot present who have not studied in Germany. And also, how can you improve to become competitive? You can acquire additional skills in your field. And this is, yeah, to learn what you really need, what the demand is on the ground. It is very advisable to do an internship in your home country before you finalize your studies. And for this reason, I would like to invite you to have a look at the program of the German government run by Brot für die Welt, the Protestant church. It is called Stube, Studienbegleitprogramm. And it's an additional offer for your studies. So it's an adjustment to your studies, additional courses, additional seminars in the field of development. So in order to adjust or have an top up to your studies and to discuss matters, topics, and recent current activities about development in your home country. And there you might also get the information to how to make an internship, how to get subsidies for an internship in your home country, because that is very recommendable to make out a study on the ground. Where can you apply? What's needed? What will give you an advantage over others so that you can easily find a job much faster than your colleagues who came back from another country. For example, there are also many Chinese who returned from the US. So the competition is quite high, even though the opportunities are there, but you really have to think of also of other competitors who not graduate in your home country, but who also returned from abroad from the US and might have also a very interesting profile. Well, it is also recommendable to know what you really are seeking, and therefore I invite you to make this practical um, exercise, the diamond ranking. And the first level, you fill in your dream job, your vision. What do you want to become? Maybe a minister, maybe the company owner of a very well running company, of an institute. Put that vision in the first blank. And on the second level, you alternative jobs. Please bring in the concrete names already of your employers if you know them. This might help you in identifying the companies that you are seeking and you want to apply at. The third level actually is very interesting because it is actually the outcome most of the times of this diamond ranking. After you did this diamond ranking, if you leave this paper and find it later, a few years later, you will see, well, actually, the third level, a possibility has been the outcome. And from it is also possible to gradually improve your professional career. And in the end, I hope you will reach your dream job. The fourth level, which is still possible, should show you also what you do not want. And the fifth is the worst case solution scenario, what you really have to avoid. And it's good to know what you don't want to do because it will help you in going another direction. Of course, you should also investigate, how do I get there? How do I achieve my dream job? Bring in your milestones and achievements. What are you going to have to get? What additional tasks do you have to need for your profile to make yourself be competitive? But again, the question whether you are going to be a sea turtle, someone who's very successful in reintegration, or seaweed, someone integration, for China is not so problematic, I'd say, from literature and as well as what I know from practical voices. The job search duration actually is also an indicator which shows that it's probably not as difficult to find a job in China. Here you can see a statistic from Zweig and Hahn's survey, and they show that the returnees from Japan or from Canada, or even within China, that the majority found in less than 3 months, and that only few have to search for a job more than 6 months. So this should make you very positive about your reintegration and should give you also the strength and the courage to return actually. But you should also note that there are some guidances also from Zweig and Hahn. They advise you 8 tips from employers to sea turtles, which I briefly get through. You should. It's quite an issue of appearance. You should get rid of the sense of superiority, and should see other Chinese people who did not study abroad on equal footing. Yeah, be also prepared to change the region into which you want to reintegrate. Um, it might be that you have to go to the countryside or a region which you were not prepared for in the beginning, which you did not think of before. Don't limit the choice of your job location to the few metropoles, and yeah, don't have too high expectations about your salary, your income. Mm, Yeah, don't assume that the area of specialty that you majored in is still in high demand when you graduate. Therefore, it is very important to carry out an internship before graduating and before returning. And well, I said you should learn German and practice German much more. Um, you also have to add practical experience. So it will be helpful if you carry out this job, even though it is a student job in Germany, it will give you an advantage. Yeah, be ready to adapt your Western way of thinking to the Chinese way of making things to happen. I just leave that uncommented. You might think of that for your own, what is actually. And the seventh point is a tip is knowing market is not just window dressing. It's essential. Hoping what you're best at, regardless of market needs, may land you in a dead end. It also doesn't need any comments. Be prepared to make a leap of confidence and settle down in China. Managing a business by remote control from abroad is not practical. I think you know that already. It will be necessary for you to return, even if you intend to become self-entrepreneured, self-employed. If you find interest in reading more about this, find my reference in the end of this presentation. They're very good to read, as I mentioned already. Find your niche in the Chinese labor market. As I mentioned, China is a growing market. There are many emerging companies right now. The three leading industries are manufacturing, services, and agriculture. More and more jobs are built and offered in the services. And actually, renewable energies in China is an emerging industrial economy, especially in the basic manufacturing industries, aluminium, steel, cement, and recycling is the new booming industry in China. Because China actually will have to produce much cleaner in future and has to be prepared also for the environmental challenges. So if you're studying in that field, renewable energies or recycling waste management, you really have a clear advantage over others. Mm, yeah, the income opportunities vary depending on the sector. The highest income opportunities by far can be found in the private sector, especially with international companies. But the public sector offers you more security, longer working contracts, permanent contracts, and but you should not underestimate the role of NGOs. I also know of Chinese graduates who reintegrated into a local NGO, and through this working experience made their way into their career. That is also not to be underestimated. Sorry. As I mentioned, the future lies in renewable energies. To give you an outlook, more than 600,000 people are employed in the solar thermal sector. By far, most of them are in China, and almost 1.2 million workers are estimated to be employed in generating biomass-derived energy in just four leading countries: Brazil, the United States, Germany, and China. That was published in 2008, but it still is up to date. And as I said, China has to produce much cleaner in future. Well, coming to another Chinese term, which I might not pronounce exactly in the way it should be, guangxi. That is the power of personal networks. You realized it or might have realized it already. It is important to know people to find information about vacancies in your home country's labor market, and therefore it is recommendable get in touch with your parents, get in touch with former student fellows, with former schoolmates, make them aware that you are going to return soon before you return, and ask them blankly, directly about information about the job labor market. Are there any vacancies they know of? So that will help you not only to get more knowledge about the labor market at home, but will increase your networks. And for the Chinese labor market, I also read interesting studies that it is mostly the case in China that you must not know someone who's able to employ you, but you might know someone who knows another person who knows someone who can give you work, an offer for work. So it is good to polish your networks before you return and also be aware of the expectations of such a of your social contacts. And yeah, if there are any demands from their side, don't blame these as yeah, giving you a headache only by the expectations they have to you, especially from your parents, of course, but take it as yeah, something very crucial and just be prepared that something might come up to you. Someone might request from you to bring a favor or yeah, that there are any kind of expectations also from the other side. It is good to think of that before returning as well. To start networking, it might be also interesting for you to get in touch with the Center for China and Globalization, CCG. They also show vacancies for their returnees in that page. The Western Return Scholars Association, WRSA, which dates back to 1903, also presents information about Chinese networks. Yeah, and Chinese universities even recruit in Germany themselves. Here, you should have a look at the Chinese embassy in Germany. On their homepage, they publish vacancies or even the latest event of recruitment. There are, of course, job fairs. For example, in the Northwestern Polytechnical University, they conducted a job fair in Munich recently in the frame of the 1000 Talents Plan. Further links also see at Sinojobs Career Days. Last but not least, it's not the last page, but it's very important for you before you graduate. The application documents. Make a check. Is your CV updated? Are you going to apply for a German company or a Chinese company? Because there are some differences. For example, apply for a German company, you should be aware that you have to have a picture on the CV. The structure is important, but of course, any CV has in common that it should be coherent, meaning there should not be a time gap. If you realize that you left some years out or even some months, you should fill that gap. Be aware that human resource personnel are going to identify that gap and maybe let you drop out because of this formal mistake, which is considered as a mistake usually. Carefully go over your cover and motivational letters. It should be as not longer. It must not be longer than one page. Yeah, also in addition, the CV and the resume must not be longer than 2 pages. If you're heading towards the educational sector, please add your publications on a separate list, not into the CV. And also try to yeah, be compact, show your qualifications compact in the CV. And the motivational letter, you have to first of all, of course, introduce yourselves, mention where you found the vacancy, how you identified that vacancy. Did you read in the internet? Did someone forward you the hint? It would be very advisable to mention the name of the person. Of course, it is important to address the human resource personnel if you know the name. Sometimes it is given in the vacancy. Make it short. People tend to make long sentences in their applications, in their motivational letters, and sometimes it's required to ask your commas if they want to be full stops. So yeah, the shorter the better. Do you have your certificates at hand? I said already it would be interesting for you to carry out a student job, a small job here in Germany. to not only acquire practical skills, but also to polish your German. And therefore, you could also get a certificate that is a very, yeah, highly recommendable to show that you worked in Germany. Your references, especially if you are heading towards the educational sector, please make sure that you have people at hand whom you can ask for references, for referrals. Ask your professors already in advance. Would they be ready to give you such a referral? And is this person also delivering such a referral on time? If you know the person is not very fast in doing such things, it can be sometimes tricky because actually, if you find a vacancy you want to apply for, you need this referral very, very quickly. And last but not least, you should check your online profiles because employers and human resource personnel go through these profiles, these online profiles, just like LinkedIn, Xing, Facebook, sometimes even ResearchGate to show that you published something, to see if you published something, what project are you on. Expertier is another online profile you could have. You could publish your expertise on. Is it time already for you? Did you check your internship, your practical skills? Did you think of canceling your flat, canceling your mobile contract? Did you close your bank account? That is one of the last steps. And the registration in Germany, of course, is also one of the very final steps before you return. But identifying employers should start already from now. As soon as you finish this presentation, I kindly expect you to start your research on the ground to make a list of potential firms, companies, and institutions you would like to work in China. Yeah, and if you have further questions, then don't hesitate to contact me. Here are my contacts at World University Service, German Committee, and I would be very glad if I received your feedback, your comments, and further questions, of course, at www.woosgermany.de. My email address is boger@woosgermany.de. And here are the references. I took the statistics from the homepage Wissenschaft weltoffen. Bian in 1997 had a very outstanding survey about social contacts and the labor market in China. Casarino is also interesting for you to read if you want to know more about preparedness on reintegration topics. The Green Job issue is published in an United Nations publication, and Wiesbrook also presented the impact of reintegration to China and India, compared it in the sense of economic development. Young published online an information from brain drain to brain gain, which shows that in the end, most of you all will become sea turtles. And Zweig and Han in 2010 confirmed this vision as well, the employment of overseas refugees in China. Well, finally, I'm going to wish you good luck for your job search and all the best. I hope you will succeed. Bye bye.